This is Crystal of Color Coded Style, and I'm speaking with makeup artist Lee Will today. Welcome, Lee. So happy to be sharing the screen with you today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes, yes. So we'll just jump right in. You're a native to Maryland, and
Yes.
you started in basketball, and then you went to hair and now makeup. So explain your evolution.
Um, well, I think, well, growing up, I think sports played such a big part of my life that I didn't have a lot of opportunities to kind of explore other things that I was into. So
Mhm.
I was into art and stuff like that. But it was like just you kind of dibble and dabble in different things. But
Right.
it was always basketball and practice and workouts, and so that took up so much of my life even through college that I just got to a point where I was like, I want to do something else. I want my life to go in a different direction. I didn't know what that was. I would have never guessed that it would be makeup.
Yeah.
um but I just kind of like started the process of having an open mind and just allowing myself to like just figure it out, and whatever that meant, I was just gonna kind of roll with it.
Okay.
um yeah, so I think I was debating on whether or not to go back to school. I just graduated college like maybe a year prior.
Yeah.
I was like, what, do I want to go to law school? Do I want to, I started applying for like government jobs in DC
Wow. Yeah. The
and
whole thing. Yeah.
everything. And I started the process of applying for like Defense Intelligence Agency and all these different places.
Right.
And I was like, after a while, I was like, I don't think I
Yeah.
want to do this for 30, 40 years. Like that it didn't sound good.
Right, not inspiring at all. I get it.
Yeah, and I actually ended up at my cousin was graduating from hair school
Mhm.
while I was kind of going through this, and I went to her graduation.
Yeah.
And, I just was like, I was looking around. I was like, I grew up in a barber shop, so I knew a bunch of barbers and hairstylists. It's like, well, they make good money. They make their own schedules. Like maybe this is it. You
Right.
know, got to hair school, and like towards the end, they had this makeup conference,
Mhm.
and they was like, if you get on the committee, you'll get hours towards graduating. So I was like, sign me up. I
Okay.
don't know anything about makeup, but sign me up. Like
Right.
I could move some tables around, pick up some boxes, but that's gonna be like the extent of
Yeah.
my contribution. So
Mhm.
I did that. The conference started, and the owner of the school, so everyone that went attended the conference got the small little silver train cases
Uh-huh.
that everyone used to have
Yes.
that kind of pop out before.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So everyone who attended the school would get one of those.
Mhm.
So I mean, attended the conference. So he called me into his office and gave me one and was like, you've been working really hard helping put the conference together. Like, go sit in some classes.
Mm.
And that
Mhm.
was like my introduction into like makeup. Was
Okay.
just sitting in the back of the room listening.
Right. Right.
I was like, I think this might line up more with me
Mm.
than hair.
Mm.
Um, and that kind of is what got the ball rolling. I met some amazing artists,
Right.
and I started assisting like not too long after that.
Right. Why did that line up more than hair for you?
I think it made more sense to me.
Okay. Okay.
Like with hair, I was like, I loved aspects of it, but
Right.
I didn't like all of it.
Right.
I
Okay.
like I like coloring hair and cutting hair.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to like. I hated doing roller sets and like all that other stuff.
Just the
I
actual
was like,
styling. Yeah. But you like
yeah,
the more creative part is like the color and the
and
cuts.
the cut,
That
yeah.
makes
And then while I was in school, I was assisting some people, like in different salons a couple of days a week, and just kind of meeting people and getting out. And I was like, this is fun, but I don't think I will have longevity doing this because I'll get bored with it,
Got
you
it.
know.
Got it.
Um, yeah, so then makeup, it kind of clicked better, just like
Yeah.
just thinking about it and how I kind of related to it.
Hmm.
Just made more sense. So
Okay. Okay. So I guess, what fascinates you about makeup and creating like different looks? And how do you, I guess, from working with different other makeup artists, you've learned how to create certain looks and things, but how do you, what do you think about when you're going into making up someone's face? I know there's a vision from the designer or whoever you're working with, but how do you put your creativity into each person that you work with?
um I think first it starts with just understanding that my role in the story.
Mm.
Like I feel like whatever shoot or campaign, like we're telling a story
Yeah.
and this person is like we're establishing this character. And then it's everything has to revolve around what makes sense for this character,
Hmm.
you know? And then I start from there. And then it's about, okay, well what are we referencing? What are, you
Hmm.
know, what's the focus? Is it about the clothes? Is it about the hair? Is it the makeup? Is it just a story that we're telling? Then everything just needs to be kind of just work well together, and there's nothing that really stands out. So it's just establishing what our focus is, and then kind of how can I tell this story that works with everyone else, but also I still can see my voice in it and my perspective in it.
Right. And how do you do that when you have like a specific look, or that the person is the designer, whoever is going for?
Oftentimes you're not like the majority of times you're just doing what's asked of you, especially in shows and stuff like that. It can be um, very minimal,
Hmm.
but I try to like just leave some room for my own little touch on it or my take on it.
Right.
Or so it's about just interpreting something in a way that it fits with what they're asking for, but also allows me to kind of put my own twist or stamp on it.
Okay.
Because I always kind of say like, if you just want somebody to come and do like uh a black wing liner and a red lip, like anybody can do that. It's been
Right.
done 100 million times,
Right.
but maybe just change the color, or let's switch the shape up a little bit,
Right.
or maybe, make it the red a little bit, tweak it in a way that you don't really see that often. So
Right.
I kind of add my creativity on jobs like that in that way of like, how can I tell this same story that's been told, but with a little twist to it?
Right. Okay. Okay. Makes sense. Growing up in Maryland, did has it influenced your work in any way? Um, just finding
Um,
around, or or
I
not.
think I think it all does. I think
Right.
every experience does, even the things that have nothing to do with being creative
Right.
kind of impacts like how I'm feeling, what's going on in the world. I think it all you kind of pull from all of it.
Right.
I think it helps me in a way of like there was a certain like I guess uniqueness that I kind of developed and grew up with, like just being in the environments that I was in and being allowed to like just really be myself.
Hmm.
Um, so I kind of just think about that and as like the staple of whatever I'm creating is like,
Okay.
is this really does this speak to me and like what
Right.
I believe in and what I find beautiful or interesting or whatever.
Right.
And if it doesn't, then I try to, steer away from those things, as much as I can,
Okay. Okay. Good. Good. So, how long were you here in the DC area until you moved to New York, and then now to London?
Um, well, I started out and then I didn't when I first started, I knew absolutely nothing. I was a like a legit blank slate.
Right.
Um, so I probably that first year I assisted a couple people like locally and stuff,
Mhm.
and I would go up to New York occasionally.
Okay.
But I didn't do a lot of the first 2 years of me saying like I want to be a makeup artist. I didn't do a lot of makeup.
Okay.
Like I took that time to just like research
Right.
and learn my references and just like probably after those first 2 years, um, you couldn't pull up a backstage video on YouTube that I hadn't seen and
Wow.
watched a million times. I
Okay.
would just sit up for hours and hours and just watch videos of Pat McGrath and
Yes.
Frank Barnard's and
Mhm.
like all these different people, all these different shows as
Mhm.
far back as was available.
Okay.
And just pick up, even if it's just a little uh uh a gesture and a brushstroke or anything, and I would just watch it over and over and try to
Mhm.
mimic it. And it's
Mhm.
like that's how I started. So I didn't really do makeup on a lot of people when I first started.
Right.
And then everybody said, "Well, you need to go work at a counter like that." You
Right.
know,
The
the
whole
people
yeah.
give you those certain uh, milestones, those things you have to do.
Right.
Did that, and I'm just like, I'm horrible at
Yeah.
being at a counter.
Were you in like a department? Were you in like a Macy's or like a Sephora, something like that?
Yeah, so I started out freelancing for NARS and YSL,
Nice. Okay.
and I did that for about a year,
Okay.
and I left. I stopped NARS,
Okay.
and I was fired from YSL because
What happened?
because I wasn't selling enough.
Okay.
Which I was like, it was one of those situations where you like you're you're toting that line of about to quit and being fired, and
Okay.
like because at this point I started like testing and stuff,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I would much rather be doing this. It's obvious I don't want to be here.
Right.
I was never the type to say like, you need this mascara. This is the best mascara in the world. If I didn't believe it, I would
Exactly.
be like, this is nice, but you also can go
Right.
to Target and get this L'Oreal one that will
Right.
do the same thing.
Okay. Yeah.
You know? Because I looked at it too, like, um, when I got into it and like just looking at back, like thinking about my mom and my grandparents, my
Right.
grandmother, and like aunts and nieces and all these people, and they're like there was at that point there was such a gap in like really seeing the value of Black women and them being valued in the makeup world, and a lot of them didn't feel like included in a lot of things.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I thought that it was more empowering to like give the information than to
Mhm.
sell you this product. It's like,
Exactly.
yeah, to make you look nice, but you should also be informed
Right.
about what you're buying.
Right.
And if you still want to pay $50 for a mascara, that's fine.
Yeah.
But understand like this doesn't this isn't where the value is. The
Mhm.
value is in you being informed as a consumer and feeling included in those things. So it
Right.
just didn't line up. So
Yeah.
I did that for a while, and then like maybe the end of 2013
Mhm.
is when I was like, all right, I'm gonna just move to New York
Yeah.
and figure it out,
Okay.
whatever a makeup artist is supposed to do, you know?
Okay.
Hey
Okay.
everyone, it's Crystal of Color Coded Style, and I hope you enjoyed the first part of my interview today with makeup artist Lee Will. Stay tuned for the next part next weekend as we delve more into his career and what he's doing currently and what he'd like to do in the future. And stay tuned to Color Coded Style for more interviews with fashion makers from across the globe and my fashion finds.